Hello, welcome to another edition of North Coast History and Haunts. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the disappearance of Darla Kustra. Darla was a 56-year-old woman who had an apartment in Lorain and walked everywhere. On this particular day, on March 26, in 2010, she was walking very early in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. She was walking on her way to work. She worked at a plastics plant and she was walking along this stretch of highway. You can tell how busy it is, and there's really nowhere to walk along the side of the road. It would have been snowy and slushy, and we're going to stop and take a look at this bridge, this railroad bridge, because it's important. When she didn't arrive at work, the word went out. 3 days later, some teenage boys were walking along these tracks and they found a foot and a calf, and through DNA testing, it turned out it was Darla's. So the police theorized that it did belong to her and she met some horrible end. However, at the scene, there was no blood, there was no sign of violence, and really no sign of Darla. They did investigate with dogs, with helicopters in the air, and of course they searched all through the area, and they really never found any evidence. The sad part about it is, if you just walk just a little short distance up here, she could have easily exited the highway right here. She was only less than a mile away total from where she was walking, where she disappeared, to her place of employment. But it was a dark stretch of highway, heavily trafficked, and it sounds like a sad end to Darla Kustra.
Hello, welcome to another episode of North Coast History and Haunts. Today's episode takes us to Elyria, Ohio, and we're standing next to Route 57. Route 57 is a really major busy street cutting right through Elyria. It's a north and south route. It was on this road that Darla Kustra was walking to work. Darla Kustra had just found employment at a plastics facility not too far in an industrial park right over here. She had just gotten work. It was March. It was cold. It's winter in northern Ohio. She was walking to work. She said she walked everywhere. She had just gotten this new job. She never made it to work. The work called the temp agency, and they confirmed she wasn't there. She made no contact. She simply disappeared. The story is tragic in and of itself, but a short time later, 4 teenagers were walking along this railroad trestle you can see in the background. It spans Route 57. 4 teenagers were walking there, and they found the foot and a calf of a person. They called the cops, and they were able to identify through DNA evidence that it did indeed belong to Darla Kustra. They found out that yes, it did indeed belong to Darla Kustra. What the police think is that somehow maybe she was hit by a truck and her body somehow was lodged up underneath the truck. It's a gruesome end to this story, and that maybe her body is somewhere else, or somehow it was unfortunately deposited somewhere else. If you know anything about any leads, please call Elyria Police with the number and the links below. Thank you, and stay tuned for more videos.